All right. So I think we're live on YouTube. I'm just gonna go over the most recent event, UFC 283. Let me go ahead and turn this music down. Bum, bum. And yes, I am the human highlight reel. We are live, y'all. We are live. Yeah, we are live. So let me go ahead and start this intro. What is going on, everybody? Today, I was going to say the date, but like I said earlier, these are timeless episodes. My name is Dante. We are Chez Dante. And today, we got a special episode for you guys. But before I get into that, let's go ahead and play the intro music.
Perhaps your skills do extend a bit farther than basketball.
As I was saying, my name is Dante. We are Chez Dante, and today we got a special episode because we are once again live on YouTube. I think I'm gonna start doing more of these live on YouTube. It saves me from doing even more editing. Even though I rarely do, I do a very minor amount of editing to this podcast. It's nothing too tedious. But anyways, so we're live on YouTube. Today we are going to be talking about UFC 283. I got the results right here with me. I'm going to see how long I could keep this rhyme with me. Okay, so UFC 283. It was a great card. It took place in Brazil. Yeah, so I guess maybe should we go over my picks or just how the fights were? Unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch the whole card, but I saw the highlights and I thought it was a really good card. So let me just go ahead and talk. All right, let me just go ahead and start with the Gilbert fight. So it was Gilbert versus 𝓁. And I gotta say, I'm very impressed with how Gilbert went about this fight. Typically, he would want to stand and bang and, go blow for blow and shot for shot and see who can take two to give one and blah, blah, blah. But this time around, he was a lot more reserved. He went straight for the takedown and, didn't really goof around with it too much. He kind of just, fought 𝓁, who's a tough opponent, and just almost handled business, And in my last episode, I talked about how I was picking 𝓁 just out of bias, even though I figured that Gilbert was the better fighter, right? And he really showed it on Saturday. He went, like I said, just got the takedown and submitted 𝓁. I believe it was the first round too. And let me quickly look that up. But yeah, first round, 4 minutes and 15 seconds. And I believe it was it was like a rear naked choke, but it was clean and it was right away, just straight to the point. He took him down, blah, blah, blah. And, yeah, super impressive. I would say, like I was saying in the picks, it wasn't as expected, even though that was the best way for him to win. I didn't really expect him to take that route, but he did, and it shows how dangerous of an opponent Gilbert really is. I almost said Gilbert 𝓁. Gilbert Burns really is. So I'd like to see who he fights next. Sorry. What else? Next we have. Oops. Next we have the Davison Figueiredo versus Brandon Moreno, and this went exactly as I said it would. Like, it went exactly how I said it would. Davison's too big for the division. It's too draining on his system to make the weight before a fight. And it really showed because he didn't really have anything for Moreno. And he got hit with like a nice, like, shovel, like, thumb to the eye. Boom, right? And he just got swollen right away. And typically, you know, when people swell up right away, it shows that their weight cut wasn't, you know, the best. And even before the fight started, I was watching it with a friend of mine, and I was like, man, like, Davison looks sickly. Like, he doesn't look like himself. He just looks like he's, you know, kind of out of it and just not feeling himself. He looks like drained and, like I said, sickly. And after the fight, he's like, yeah, you know what? I'm retiring from the 125 division. He's going up to 135, which I still think he's too big for. But we'll see. There's a lot of good matchups for him at 135. Who would I like to see Davison fight at 135? Let me check the rankings, but there's probably some good fights for him. I don't expect him to jump right all the way to the top, but we'll see. I'm just pulling up the rankings here because I want to see who's at 35. Ooh, okay. You know who I want to see? This is who I want to see him fight. This is a perfect matchup for him to make his debut at 135. All right. Now, this fighter I'm thinking of, everyone's avoiding him right now because he's the boogeyman. He's the boogeyman of 135. Probably a future champion. I wouldn't be surprised. But I think if Davison is to jump over to 135, I think his first fight should be what's his name? How do I pronounce it? Nurmagomedov. I think that'd be a really good fight for him at 135. Let's see, like, if his power holds up against one of the bigger, stronger guys at 135. And Umar's ranked number 11 right now, so I think that's a good entry level fight for 135. Umar Nurmagomedov. But either way, Brandon Moreno. Sorry, there's also construction going on, but Brandon Moreno looked crisp this fight. You know, he was really staying in Davison's face, putting the pressure on, landing his strikes, and avoiding the takedowns, and, you know, putting on like a masterclass. So it was nice to see. One thing I didn't like seeing is after the fact when, you know, the Brazilian fans were like throwing bottles and beer and all that thing as Davison was leaving the octagon. I didn't think that was that cool or awesome to see. But, you know, Moreno handled it like a champ. He was, you know, smiling through the moment and stuff like that, and just, I think, enjoying a good win. Sorry. Lastly, who do we have? Lastly, we have the main event: Glover Teixeira versus Jamal Hill. Now, I believe this is like a passing of the torch from old school to new school, right? Glover was like one of the last dudes from the old school MMA. You know, him and Shogun both retired this weekend, but man, Jamal Hill put a beating on Glover for 5 rounds, and like, it was just a nonstop beatdown, and Jamal looked really good. His striking looked clean. Everything just looked proper, and it almost seemed like Glover didn't have anything for him. He tried going for the takedown. He got him down, and then Jamal just stood right back up right away. And, he 8 shots for it. Glover was all bloodied up, and you hear him even after the fight. He's like, I'm too tough for my own good. I think it's time. And I think it's good to see, fighters leaving on their own terms, like before it gets too bad. You know what I mean? Like, I think maybe Tony Ferguson has been in for too long, but, to each their own. We'll see how his next fight goes. And, but Jamal Hill looked phenomenal. Congrats to him for the win. And I would like to see him fight. I heard there's some talks about him fighting Alex Pereira, which should be fascinating. I'd like to see that fight. So we'll see how that goes. I think that's going to be it for this episode. I do have some other things to take care of today, but hope you guys enjoyed it. Nice little simple recap talking about last week's card. I might do more of these UFC things, considering UFC is basically every week. I might try and incorporate that more. Let me know in the comments down below. If you would like to support the platform, make sure you go ahead and click the Patreon link in the description below. Leave a like, leave a comment, and until the next time, here's the outro music.
Further. I'm sorry.
You said my skills extend farther than the basketball court. Farther relates to distance. Further is a definition of degree. You should have said further.